Okay, Baba, thank you. So, chapter 6 is King Janaka, after he's attained self realization, is expounding the truth to his guru, Ashtavakra. And so, Baba, I'll read the verse, and if you want to comment, just interrupt, and I'll ask questions too as we go along. Okay?
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you. Chapter 6, the higher knowledge. Janaka speaks. I am boundless as space, and this universe is bounded like a jar. Know this. Then there is neither renunciation, nor attainment, nor dissolution. 2. I am like the ocean, and the universe is like the waves. Know this, then there is neither anything to be given up, nor anything to be absorbed, nor any settling back. 3. I am the seashell, and the universe is that illusion of shiny mother of pearl. Know this, then there is neither relinquishing, nor grasping, or dissolving. I am all beings, and all beings are in me. Know this, there is no renunciation, nor attainment, nor dissolution.
Though these sentences are usually found in scriptures, several other scriptures also, when a self-realized master or about the self, when the master teaches or gives, that one realizes, just like you realize you are the mind and you are not the thought or a vision that is in the mind. So then you realize all thoughts and all visions, whatever that, if we consider it as a matter or universe, a separate world, is in the mind. And the mind is infinite, just like space. Actually, I would repeat, in my opinion, the space itself. Because if I tell space itself, if there is a separated definition criteria sitting in the mind, then it would become a bit difficult to believe, because the all-pervaded ultimate truth needs to be supreme consciousness of existence, whereas space appears to be simply a void place. But in my opinion, today I would like to clarify and stand by the sentence, space is not simply a void place. Space is space because we have imagined it as space. Somebody told us and we have taken it in good faith and believed it is a void place. Because that was how, like, if we all remember, first time when we heard the definition for space in the school, the teacher said the void place in between these two walls is known as space. So thus the space is sitting in our minds as void place, but actually it is the absoluteness. When we get to see, it is the space which is holding the entire universe. So when a yogi realizes this as the self, that self is infinite and all-pervaded, space is not actually space, but it is the self which is all-pervaded. This has to be individually experienced when you do sadhana. That is how Janaka also experienced it by the teachings of his guru Ashtavakra. The same way when we did tapas, we experienced this, that the entire universe is within me. When I call that within me, it is not the narrow shaped body or a narrow personality or the name of Shiva, Rudra, Balayogi. It's all ideas will get dropped. It is simply an all-pervadedness. That's what one needs to understand when he says, I am beyond all these things. And in me, I am holding the entire universe. So that's what. Also, in Kathopanishad, one beautiful sentence comes. Yama, while teaching to Nachiketa, says, when the divine wanted to create, there was no other raw material other than divinity. It was all pervaded everywhere. Only divinity as a single self existed. No second entity was there. So then the divine took out from itself to create using the imagination, technology, creativity. So that's how the universe is also nothing but the form of the divinity, because it is within the divinity. Just like the thoughts and visions that are in your mind cannot go out of your mind. Mind itself you cannot show to anybody. Yesterday also we were discussing the same point. Mind itself also you cannot show.
Baba,
This is my mind, right?
Baba,
Yes.
excuse me for interrupting. You froze there for 10, 15 seconds and we missed saying. I don't.
Slightly internet bandwidth has become low. So that's why my voice would have missed. Yeah. In Kathopanishad, Yama tells, when the divine wanted to create using the technology of imagination, creativity, that means just you have to imagine. Then the world appears. Just like when you imagine in your mind, the thought appears. Means for the creation, it is only imagination. That is why we also tell this entire creation, a universe, has appearance value but not existence value. Or at least if you try to observe that this world is impermanent, which will go away, it can disappear any moment, anything can happen. So like that. So that is what is the ultimate truth. So these are the things which Janaka goes on telling. That's what we need to understand. But you will experience it only when you reach the higher consciousness of deeper samadhi state. So then this will come into experience. Otherwise, sometimes by reading scriptures, it can be confusing also.
Okay, Baba, I'll read some of your comments in the text. They'll reiterate some of the things you've just said. After obtaining self-realization, the seeker, Janaka, says the universe rising from me is not real, and the self alone is real. I, as the self, am all-pervasive. Sri Krishna was not meaning that Krishna who stood in that body and gave this highest knowledge. That I was the supreme consciousness that's all-pervasive. Though one talks of the universe as unreal, at the moment of learning, one is not to concern themselves until self-realization is achieved. So here, Baba, you're saying that I, it's not the body, and it's not even the ideas that are rising in the mind. Can you talk a little bit about the distinction between thoughts and imaginations that are in the mind, and pure consciousness?
If you keenly observe, thoughts and visions are inside the mind, in the mind. They cannot go out of mind. As I told you, cannot show the mind itself also, and you cannot show, okay, look, this thought is in the mind or out of this mind. It cannot go. Otherwise, if you could have taken out the thought from the mind, you could.
Yeah, I think we've lost Baba momentarily. Can you hear us, Baba?
Yes, I can hear you now. So let me try.
Okay, you were starting to address the distinction between thoughts, mind, and consciousness.
Yeah, that's how. If you when you are fast imagining, fast means continuously, day after day in your life, you would forget that you are imagining the things that are in your mind. Instead, your mind considers whatever is in the mind as a reality. It won't even notice where the mind is, what the mind is, whether the mind is imagining or where the things are in the mind. But suddenly you realize you are that mind, because from that is where the I consciousness of existence is coming there. So that means you are that mind. The thoughts and visions are within you. That is how you realize. And you also realize these thoughts and visions world is there because of my imagination. So all I have to do is withdraw my imagination. I have to become quiet. That is, in other words, then the universe disappears. Then there is peace. So this is what Ashtavakra's teachings, Janaka also tells. This world is within me, this universe is within me, and I am unaffected by this world because I am the all-pervading absoluteness. So that is the ultimate truth. That's how you realize in a samadhi state called nirvikalpa samadhi, when you practice and achieve that one. So then you remain unmoved. This is what Janaka is trying to tell. Clue is the mind itself. If you understand the mind, you will be able to understand the ultimate truth also easily.
So, Baba, the mind is synonymous with the consciousness of existence, of us being
Yes.
conscious of existing.
Exactly. We are calling it mind because
And
of
so when
thoughts and visions that are in the mind. Otherwise, that is the consciousness of existence. If you keenly observe, if your attention goes on to that, giving up its attention to all thoughts and visions, then you will know this.
So that's the purpose of meditation. Meditation is to quiet the mind, shift our awareness from being on the
Yes,
thoughts
that's
and
right.
imaginations in the mind.
First, we advocate just watching so that you achieve the silence of the mind, quietness of the mind. Then its attention turns to itself. Then it realizes, I am this.
So, Baba, that has to happen automatically, spontaneously, the turning to itself, because at that point, you can't be thinking.
No, a thinking
You,
will never give you that truth. You will simply end up imagining with some other thoughts. The thinking can go wild also. You will never be able to think exactly about that truth. Simply you have to become quiet and individually experience.
so, Baba, you can't really be thinking and be in that state. Is that correct?
Not,
Or
yeah,
if
the
you're
moment,
having a thought or
yes, exactly. You cannot be. If you think, you come out of that. But at least you should be able to go back and settle in the self, in that awareness, even if you think. But if you get carried away, you will continue thinking and forget to settle into the self. That's what has happened to the jivatmas, the individual souls.
in meditation, people can have experiences, expanded consciousness, other beings, other worlds, blissfulness, all those things. And then the attention goes to that. Those are actually in the field of thought, in the field of imagination. And so if the attention goes to that, that keeps you from, you're really not in the self at that time. You're just caught up in
Yes,
a higher, better imagination.
you are simply getting carried away because the imagination becomes manifested also, or mental projection, when the concentration of the mind increases, but it continues with imagination. So then these experiences happen. That you have to realize, this was only my own projection, my own imagination, which has resulted in this manifestation. Then that disappears and you are back into meditation. So that's what happens during tapas also. You experience this as a practical workshop.
So the yogi has to have that resolve to silence the mind and not get carried away with the imaginations, because as their consciousness develops, the imaginations develop too. They can be more profound and more
Yes.
charming and more
People
alluring.
get attracted. Many people misunderstand an experience means it has to be a vision, a thought, a world, something like that. Then they call it, oh, I had some beautiful experience. A beautiful experience is dumbfound, silence. That happens only when you just watch.
So, Baba, what's the distinction if mind is the consciousness of existence, essentially, the consciousness of our existing? What's the distinction between the consciousness of existence and the self, or the mind and the self?
Just before final merger, just for sake of understanding, so that you can narrow down your observation, your watching to that, we try to tell consciousness of existence. Then as you watch, then this consciousness of existence thought also disappear and you simply merge.
You just become existence.
Existence. That also you don't think you exist, but you don't think that you exist.
Okay. I'll read through some of the points in your commentary on chapter 6, just because they're profound. I read, the universe arising from me is not real, and the self alone is real. I, as the self, am all pervasive. Very often, seekers give up worldly life and go to the forests, caves, and ashrams, and they just end up struggling for another world that they have in their imagination. Even though they seem to have given up this world and renounced it, actually they end up not renouncing anything. They hold on with their ego and desires and greed. It is the mind which has to renounce all of its imaginations. That is what is repeated, as there is nothing to give up or absorb, just become aware of the truth, which is the real knowledge.
So people often get carried away and expect that traveling to different worlds or long travelings, experiences of such visions as a great experience, as a great achievement in meditation. Whereas I would like to tell, it is all getting carried away only. Nothing, these experiences will not take you to the ultimate truth of the self. It will not give you any knowledge, any wisdom, any awareness of the self. Nothing comes. So that is why you need to finally reject them or overcome them and realize that these have no existence value. This is important. That's why if one can understand right from the beginning, when this type of experiences come, they have no existence value. Just another hypnotizing effect has happened from which you need to come out, that you are trying to become one with the self. That is most important. That must not be given up.
You know, Baba, the experience of some of those states, it's very blissful, so it's very charming. But as you pointed out in the past, supreme peace is beyond bliss. That bliss, ultimately, when the bliss settles down, when the mind completely settles down, and that bliss turns into just supreme peace, complete contentment.
My idea of telling this is because bliss can create excitement and make a consciousness get carried away with the imagination, projection, and manifestations, which are not real actually.
Okay, I'm going to read this. This comes through the sadhana of giving up all imaginations. When the mind merges with the self, then it realizes that the universe has arisen from the self and subsides into the self. When self-realization happens, it appears nothing ever happened at all. You don't have to run to forests and caves for self-realization. Meditate where you are. There is nothing to give up if you do not hold on to anything in the mind. Baba, can you explain that? There's nothing to give up if you don't hold on to anything in the mind. You said that several times here.
What I mean by this sentence means nothing to give up means nothing of this way of life. Simply by trying to give up externally, nothing goes away actually, because the mind would be carrying. You have to give up in the mind. Like Swamiji said, if you go to caves and forests, you will be carrying your mind also. There also the mind will trouble you. If you have a way of life in the world, you will start remembering that and you will start missing them. People come to ashrams. They can stay for a certain time of period only. After that, their minds will be drawn back to the world. They will start missing their homes, their dear ones, their kith and kin. So unless you are made for going to self only, so that you don't miss for anything. So instead of this, one can meditate wherever one is. Whatever way of life you have adopted, just be in that. You don't have to give up anything. Just meditate so that if the mind gives up is enough. Externally, you just behave in the natural way of life that you have adopted. You don't have to give up anything.
It says that that's how Janaka says in every stanza, once you've acquired the awareness knowledge, there is nothing that you have to absorb and nothing is there that you have to give up. You have to become quiet, that's all. There is no thought or vision that you have to get rid of. There's nothing that you have to tackle. You just have to become quiet in the mind.
And see,
So,
as
Baba,
every guru, every teacher who have self-realized or connected to self-realization always tell about samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi. Why this word has been used? That means once for all, a total silence of the consciousness must happen naturally, effortlessly, so that it remains quiet. That is when the nirvikalpa samadhi happens. Not until then. Traveling to different worlds cannot happen in nirvikalpa samadhi. If you are traveling in your meditation or tapas to different worlds, that means a nirvikalpa samadhi has not yet happened. Still you are into manifestations. So that is what means. So you give up that idea of manifestations. Don't get carried away means don't get attracted too much. At the most, use it to remain focused without making any judgments. This is very important. Then if all them disappear, and then your mind can go more introvert, then it becomes pure consciousness going towards samadhi. Nirvikalpa samadhi word also has been used by many teachers because that is when every idea gets dropped, every vision, every thought, every imagination, every creation, everything disappears. One single self exists in itself, and that is not equivalent to any of the worldly experience at all. It is much beyond. There is no relative existence that you can narrate such an experience.
Okay, Baba. There's a term you use. You've used it several times before, um, and I'd like you to elaborate on that.
What's it?
Awareness knowledge. Awareness knowledge. You say once you've acquired the awareness knowledge, is that consciousness of existence, or?
Yeah. You simply merge with the consciousness of existence. You are simply aware of the existence. So this also has to disappear when you go for actual nirvikalpa samadhi. That means you continue remaining quiet. That's what is continuing tapas means. When you continue tapas means you continue remaining quiet.
So that awareness knowledge, Baba, is when you've managed to quiet the mind of all the extraneous thoughts, but you still have that awareness
Of your own, simply an existence. Awareness is there, but no thought or definitions are there for that.
Right.
You
So
feel as if you are existing, but you don't define what it is. That is when you tend to tell ki, I am this or I am that. Either way, anything. No further definitions. You think whatever it is, it's all the same.
Yeah, so it's that last state, just where all thought's been withdrawn, except it's aware of its own, it's conscious of its own existence, and then that merges into the self.
Yeah, you don't identify with either of the duality. Means it is there and it is not there. And you don't identify with either of them. It is neither Atman nor Anatman. Some spiritual seekers argue that Buddha's teaching says Anatman, Anatman. He didn't talk of Atman. He simply spoke of Anatman. That doesn't mean that he didn't recognize the Atman. If he is, you are recognizing it is not there, you are recognizing it is there. If you recognize a bad thing, you recognize good thing. Only in comparison to the good thing only, you are calling this as a bad thing. If anybody asks you, why is this bad thing? See, this is the good. You have to be like this. If you are not like this, it is bad. That comparison happens. If that is over, finish.
Yeah, all analysis, all judgment, comparison, all the activities that happen in the mind beyond.
Done.
Okay, Baba. When the mind becomes quiet and no more thoughts or visions are coming, in that stillness of consciousness, what you're aware of is the truth of existence. It's supremely peaceful. You neither get attracted by this world nor do you reject the world. You're neither happy or unhappy. You're at peace, contented, composed. That ends chapter 6, Baba. You have more time or?
We have come to the height of this teaching. It's very wonderful. That is all one has to understand of Ashtavakra Samhita.
In Baba, chapter 7 continues in this very, very high knowledge. It's beautiful, so
Yeah, next
we
session
save
we will
that for
pick
next
up
time.
chapter 7.
Okay, so we'll take a few questions then from people.
If
If you
anybody has connected to spirituality, not out of spirituality, about this spiritual truth, only please raise your hand. A couple of questions will take. Don't come with out of
Okay.
context questions, please, now.
Namaste, Babaji.
Yes, please.
I've been thinking about this tyaga and tapas. They say, what I'm thinking aloud, is that tapas is a very general term. Tyaga is also a very general term. And so the highest tapas is tyaga. But there's also
Tyaga means
tyaga
just
also
if
means
you talk.
sacrifice.
Just if you talk of tyaga, what is it that you have to sacrifice? That comes. You have to give up everything. To give up everything, you do tapas. Tapas word is used so that here you burn out all habits of the mind. In ancient times, tapas is used particularly for this. But afterwards, people might use it for so many other things. if a person is living a hard life of sacrifice, oh, wo bhi to bahut bada tapas hai, he is doing a tapas, but not this tapas. This tapas is
Yeah,
only
so
to quieten the mind and merge with the self, burn out all habits of the mind. That is, this tapas is only for this purpose. The
so
tapas is used.
tapas has to be defined. It has to be defined.
Yeah,
What
if a
tapas?
question comes, then we
What
can
tyaga?
elaborately define. About tyaga also, like Bhagavad Gita talks, ke tyagat shantinanantaram. So many people get confused. What is it that we have to sacrifice? Then a guru, if it is self-realized, has to explain ki here the tyaga means giving up all thoughts and visions of the mind. When you sacrifice it in the mind, you have peace in the mind. So that's what
So
is
no, people
important.
don't even want to use the word tyaga. It's almost removed from the dictionary.
Yeah,
Because it's
so
been
many
so much
other
used,
terminologies.
overused.
Yes, exactly. So they don't want
Yeah.
to use this. So many other terminologies have been used to entertain devotees. So it is all lost and get confused. Whereas in ancient times, this has been very much used for these purposes. Like Adi Shankara's Jnana Bhakti Vairagya. Vairagya is you give up in the mind of the idea of existence of the world. That is Vairagya.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking, these days nobody even wants to dwell on the word
Yes.
tyaga or
So,
to call renunciate.
yes,
Renunciate means they look at it as a bad connotation, that they're not interested in life.
people can twist and give any meaning to suit their convenience very often. So that's what happens. So if
Yeah.
people have twisted and used and reused to their convenience, so anything can happen now. The sannyas had a particular meaning when it was founded, when it advocated, but then as things go on, people use this sannyas to their convenience.
Babaji, I
Yes.
had two questions, the one I posted on the chat and another one. I'll start with the one from the chat. Babaji, how is body consciousness different than the mind? Because Babaji talks about some stages in meditation. So, how is body consciousness at the very start of this whole practice different from the mind?
You see, body consciousness you get through brain's reflections. Mind watches the brain's reflection and registers that in itself. Like, for example, here you get to watch Babaji on the screen. Then your brain absorbs this and it reflects. Then your mind catches and registers. Then you feel the existence of Babaji sitting on the screen. So these reactions happen like this. The same way, body consciousness has come to this mind because of continuously watching brain's reflections and getting carried away by not verifying what the truth is. Just like without verifying what the truth is on the screen that a movie is happening, you get carried away, movie is you, and you are the movie. Everything appears as if it is happening to you. So in the same way, body consciousness has been obtained, and it is so strong. Even while alive for a yogi, if somebody pinches or cuts, the pain will be there because the mind is watching, is little bit consciousness is in touch with the brain. This completely goes on when the body drops only.
Thank you, Babaji. One more question. Babaji, how is karmas related to the practice of quietening the mind? So, in the practice of meditation, how can karmas help?
You see, if you had been trying in your previous life for spiritual truths, or now also in this life, you go on trying for spiritual truths. Your body gets aged. And if you are unable to achieve self-realization for some reason, and after aging, becoming old, the body dies. So the next life, you will have the inclination, you will be born to such parents again, to such atmosphere, to such surroundings, that you will get strong inclination to go towards spiritual truths. Such doubts occur to you. You want to know what the truth is. That yearning comes. So that is how these efforts of actions turns out to be the karma that your mind absorbs as imprints and develops it as an attitude. That's when the inclination also comes. That is how the karma is connected to your spiritual things also. When you achieve samadhi, you would have stopped the future. A yogi would have stopped the future. But whatever had been resolved in the previous life, that all comes as the body ailment or any such things happens. So that is how the karma is connected.
So, Babaji, even when we are in the path of spirituality, like practicing, much before attaining samadhi, much before that. So, the karmas, which are habits of the mind picked from previous past or any effort, but during practice, something also surfaces, like the imaginations will come on the top. There will be one living in the world, will experience a lot of uh, efforts and actions to make towards in the world. So these karmas, if like how do everyday living also can impact in uh,
You
progressing in
see,
our spirituality?
say, suppose, for example, you are on the spiritual path, but along with the spiritual path, worldly also, academically, you might have achieved something distinctively. So thus, you are like a software engineer. So you automatically get exposed to this world and world's achievements. They also get absorbed in the mind unknown to you. So then, as spiritual and these worldly achievements, they go together parallelly. Thus, a karma gets created. Then finally, balance. Kiska bhi palla bhari hai, that type of thing. So whichever has the weight increasing, if the spiritual involvement in this life increases, then for the need only you are a software engineer, just for sake of earning livelihood for a while. So then your spirituality wins. Or unknown to you, if you get carried away with your worldly achievements, that you are a software engineer, that you can use your computer brains, any such things, then your spiritual achievements or spiritual tendencies gets reduced and the worldly tendencies increases. So you are on the edge, like the snake and ladder. Either you go on the ladder, or you can come down the snake, depending on the tendencies. Now you have to be very careful that your mind, unknown to you also, must not get carried away by the worldly achievements. Let it be. It's a good thing, not a bad idea. You can earn your livelihood, but keep it there itself. Don't allow it to raise its head too much. More spiritual thinking, that truth is necessary. That is how these karmas are connected and can make you to go on this path or decline. Any such thing can happen. One has to be careful. Okay, Agastya, thank you so much. And some questions were there. And I will say bye-bye to everyone.